everybody, welcome back to another MB Zoomer video. Today we're going to be covering a topic that I think is important for everybody to keep in mind. We're going to be talking about personal protective equipment. So this isn't necessarily something that's exclusive to the Sur-Ron, since I'm sure, as you know, it is recommended to wear personal protective equipment when you're riding a bike or a gas-powered motorcycle. However, I'm going to be covering the specific loadout of gear that I chose and deemed appropriate for riding the Sur-Ron, since you're not going to be going 80 miles per hour on the highway like you would with a Harley, so you don't necessarily need the same level of protection for those type of speeds. However, it never hurts to be overprotected rather than underprotected. So first off, we're going to cover something that should be completely obvious to everybody watching. You need a helmet. That's non-negotiable. If you have a Sur-Ron, I would highly recommend going with a motorcycle helmet rather than a bike helmet. And something to take note about the helmet is, A, you're going to want a visor of some sort, and B, you do really want that lower, I don't know what the technical name for this is, but some chin protection on there. Because I have heard reports of people basically getting in motorcycle accidents just with the helmet on top of their head, and they'll like grind off their jaw. So that's the last thing you need. Just buy a full head helmet with a visor and you'll be set. I believe helmets are rated by the Department of Transportation, so get something that they've deemed appropriate for street riding. Next thing is gloves. I think these are essential because your fingers will get cold, and if you're in a wreck, your hands are going to be the first thing to hit the ground and get road rash. So I decided to go with some tactical gloves with the hard knuckles. I really like these, and they've protected my hands from getting chewed up. In my accident video I made a little while ago, I got this in there, and then I got some other rips in the gloves which I've sewed up. But if I wasn't wearing gloves, I would have had a hole about this size in my hand, probably worse. So I highly recommend getting some gloves. They're like $15, doesn't cost much. You can find some on Amazon just like I have. Next thing we're going to talk about is Shin Guards, knee guards. There's a couple different directions you can go with this. You can get knee braces, or you can just get some hard plastic guards like this. There's a huge difference in price. I believe these cost about $60, and if you were to get a full-on knee brace, that's going to run you around $300. So these are a little more practical, I think. However, they won't protect your knees from getting twisted. So that's something to keep in mind. I haven't really needed these. I just use them when I'm off-roading, doing some, tough trails that I haven't done before, because if you do fall, they'll save your knees from getting scraped up. But that's about it. They're not going to protect them from getting twisted out of joint or anything like that. But I do recommend these. These Fox ones work quite well. It's called the Fox Titan Pro. So I highly recommend these. They might save you from some scrapes, or if you're worried about hitting tree branches or something on your legs, these will protect you from that as well. Next up, we're going to talk about shoes. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with shoes. I've seen a lot of people just riding Sur-Rons around with regular tennis shoes. Technically nothing wrong with that. However, I would recommend some sort of protective shoe. Some people are going to recommend that you go with full-on dirt biking boots, which really restrict your mobility of your ankle and your lower leg. And they're quite heavy, and in my opinion, they're a little bit overkill for a Sur-Ron. The main reason people wear those dirt biking boots are to protect their ankles if their dirt bike falls on them. So I had a buddy who was off-roading on a gas dirt bike, and it fell on his ankle and just totally obliterated the bones in there. And he was in a boot for about 6 months after that. So that's definitely a concern. However, with a Sur-Ron, typically it's about half the weight that a gas dirt bike would be. So having it fall on your ankle isn't as big of a concern. It would still have the potential to break some bones and mess you up if it fell on your ankle. But I haven't had any issues with that. I've dropped the bike a few times and it's never ended up on my ankle. So it's sort of up to your personal preference. These shoes, though, I don't know if I recommend this particular brand, but I recommend some type of motorcycle shoe because these offer additional protection above what you would get from a regular tennis shoe. So these have a metal bar in the bottom that's supposed to protect the shoe from your pegs and give you a little more support standing on the pegs. And then they've got, it's kind of wearing out on these, but a reinforced toe. And then there's some plates here. It's a plastic plate reinforcement. There's some reinforcement on the back and on the other side as well. And then the biggest thing is going to be having the high top shoe, because that's going to give your ankle a lot more support in case you get in an accident and twist it up. So these are from their brand Shima. They are SX2 Evos. They were a little bit expensive, between $100 and $150. And honestly, I'm not super happy with these because they've started to wear out. As you can see, there's a hole in the bottom, especially on this one. So I really don't recommend these. They're advertised as being more robust, so you can stand on your pegs without a problem, but as you can see, they did not live up to the advertising, so I do not recommend going with Shima motorcycle shoes. I've seen Harley Davidson, they have some shoes, and then I'm sure there's other brands out there you could find. But I like these because it's a good medium between regular tennis shoes and a full-blown dirt biking boot. It gives you a lot more mobility. I wore these regularly, at work, around town, even when I wasn't riding my dirt bike, for maybe 6 months before they wore out. So for shoes that are that expensive, kind of crappy, but they do offer you some extra support. So the final thing I want to talk about is your riding jacket. This, besides the helmet, this is probably one of the most important pieces of gear. The jacket I have is Core-Tech. I got it from Get Lower Cycles. Seems like a good company. They had some good riding gear discounts. I like this jacket because it came with some padding. So this is the shoulder pad here, and I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's sort of a rubberized shoulder pad, and that's going to absorb a lot of the impact if you get hit by a car or fall. This is what I was wearing when I had my accident on the ice, and I think I would have been a lot worse off. I still hurt my shoulder a little bit, but it was all just something that healed up a week later. If I wasn't wearing this, I could have potentially dislocated my shoulder, so I highly recommend something with a little extra protection. This also has elbow pads in the arm. A big thing with motorcycle gear is that it's going to be resistant to tearing. So if you have a regular jacket and you have an accident, it's going to get shredded by the road when you're sliding. So it's good to have something with a little extra protection that's meant for riding dirt bikes or motorcycles. This is more of a motorcycle jacket. This jacket also has a spot for a back pad, which I highly recommend getting because spinal injury is something you may never recover from. So the last thing you need is to be paralyzed because you hit your back in the wrong spot. It also has quite a few pockets. It even has a concealed carry pocket, which I think is quite nice. So it wasn't super cheap for a jacket, but it has already, proved its value to me by protecting me in an accident. It's also waterproof, so with these kind of jackets, I would recommend buying a size larger than you actually need, since they tend to be a little bit tighter. But that's all the gear I have that I wanted to go over. Another thing you may consider is motorcycle pants. Again, they're made out of a fabric that's resistant to tearing, but in my opinion, you're probably going to be okay with jeans. You don't crash all that often, hopefully. So you can get away with skimping on the pants as long as you got the other stuff. You want to protect the important parts, like your head, like your spine. Everything else can heal and or isn't, totally catastrophic to your life if you injure it. besides your head and your neck. So please protect those. That's about all I've got for you. Thank you for watching my video. Please don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. We've got a lot of exciting content coming in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. Again, thank you for watching and have a phenomenal day. Goodbye.